Hey guys, Sarah Ulmer here for Y'all Politics. I'm sitting down with Michael Guest, who is a candidate in the 3rd District congressional race. There's a runoff coming up on June 26th, and Michael has made the cut out of about 6 Republican candidates that were running. So we're going to talk to him a little bit about what the campaign trail's been like so far, and then go into what he thinks are going to be the biggest obstacles before the 26th. Michael, thanks for sitting down with us.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, talk to me a little bit so far. How has the campaign trail been? What's your response from the public been?
You know, we've been, my wife and I began this journey in January. You don't run for office by yourself. It is definitely a family affair. And so before we ran, we talked about it, we prayed about it, and we felt like this was the right direction. Since that time, you know, we have been very humbled by the response that we've gotten from our family, from our friends, from the people we attend church with. You know, to have people who will have donated their time to do everything from make phone calls to write letters, to hold up signs at polling places. And, you know, we have been overwhelmed with the support that we receive. And so I will tell you that it is a humbling experience to run for office, and you cannot thank enough the people that have supported us.
Absolutely. Talk to me a little bit about what do you think the biggest obstacle is going to be in these next couple of weeks before this June 26th runoff?
You know, I think the biggest obstacle is just educating the voters that there is a runoff. You know, there was a low turnout on the primary on June the 5th. Generally, there's a drop-off in between a primary and a runoff. And so what we want to do is we want to continue to educate the voters out there that there is a runoff, that this is an important election. We want to encourage people to vote. We've said it throughout the campaign that we want people to vote, that our servicemen and women have fallen and some have died for that right. And so whether you're voting for us or whether you're voting for our opponent, we want to encourage people to vote. So we're really going to be working hard between now and June 26th. We're going to continue to be getting out throughout the 3rd Congressional District, and we're going to be continuing to talk to voters. We're going to tell them what we hope to accomplish on their behalf if they choose to send us to Washington, D.C., but we're going to encourage them to please go out and vote on June 26th.
So, Michael, what makes you, first of all, what made you decide to run for this position, and what makes you believe that you're the man for the job?
You know, I've known Congressman Harper for some period of time. Greg and I were friends before he ran for Congress, and so once Greg got elected to Congress, you know, I followed what he was doing in Washington, and it really piqued my interest. And so when Greg was home from Washington, I would often see Greg at different community events, church events, political events, and I would often question Greg about the things that were going on in D.C. And so when Greg decided in January that he was not going to run, it is something that I've been thinking about for an extended period of time. And so again, after consulting with my family and friends, we decided to get in this race. You know, I believe that the thing that would separate me from my opponent in this race is, you know, I've got a history for the last 23 years of working on behalf of the people of the state of Mississippi. I've been in courtrooms both in Madison County and Rankin County fighting for victims of crime to try to see that the guilty are convicted and that justice prevails. And I also believe that we have a recent history of sending prosecutors to Washington. You look at Trent Kelly in the 1st Congressional District. He was a DA up in the Tupelo area, and he's been a successful congressman. I also think from South Carolina, I think of Trey Gowdy. You know, he's probably one of my Republican heroes, if you will, and the things that Trey has been able to accomplish up in D.C. So they've used their experience as prosecutors, and I believe that has made them successful congressmen.
Absolutely. You did mention your opponent. Do you have any words for your opponent before the June 26th runoff?
You know, again, you know, I've gotten to know all my opponents throughout this race. You know, there were a total of 6 opponents that began this primary. During that time, we have spent a lot of time together on the campaign trail. There have been 12 debates and primaries that we participated in. At many of these local community days, we would be at those days as well as our opponents. So I've gotten to know our opponents, and you know, and I think very highly of all of them. So I wish with the best of luck. I think he is a very competent, good individual. I know he and his wife Shelley. I know that they're good Christian people, and so I hope that this race will continue to be the race that we've had, which is a good, clean campaign, and I wish we well.
Now, say things go your way at the end of June, and you are the Republican nominee for the November election. How do you plan to continue campaigning, and what do you plan to do to make sure that you beat your Democratic opponent in November?
You I think that if I'm successful enough to make it out of the primary and be the nominee, that we will do the same thing that we've been doing for the last 5 months. We will continue to be traveling across the district, and we'll be continuing to tell the people of the state of Mississippi what we hope to accomplish on their behalf. I think the thing that would set whoever comes out of this Republican primary apart is, I think that this is a conservative district. I think people want to see that a Republican elected out of the 3rd Congressional District. And so, I think that we will highlight the differences between, at least on the national stage, the difference between what a Republican congressman would look like versus a Democratic congressman. And so, if we're fortunate enough to be the nominee on the 26th of June, we will then start working toward that. But we want to continue to keep executing the plan that we put in place, and we hope that we'll be successful.
Absolutely. Everybody, Michael Guest, he is a candidate for the Mississippi 3rd Congressional District runoff coming up. Don't forget, on June 26th, make sure that you are registered to vote and you get out to the polls so that you can cast your ballot. Michael, thank you again for being with us today.
Thank you.